the end of the block. Tub picked up his sandwich and slung the rifle and walked down to the truck. The driver was bent against the steering wheel, slapping his knees and drumming his feet on the floorboards. He looked like a cartoon of a person laughing. "Tub, you ought to see yourself," he said. "You look just like a beach ball with a hat on, doesn't he, Frank?" The man beside him smiled and looked off. "You almost ran me down," Tub said. "You could have killed me." "Come on, Tub," said the man beside the driver. "Be mellow. Kenny was just messing around." He opened the door and slid over to the middle of the seat. Tub took the bolt out of his rifle and climbed in beside him. "My feet are frozen," he said. "If you meant 10 o'clock, why didn't you say 10 o'clock? "Tub, you haven't done anything but complain since we got here," said the man in the middle. "If you want to piss and moan all day, you might as well go home and bitch at your kids. Take your pick." When Tub didn't say anything, he turned to the driver. "Okay, Kenny, let's hit the road." Some juvenile delinquents had heaved a brick through the windshield on the driver's side, so the cold and snow funneled right into the cab. The heater didn't work. They covered themselves with a couple of blankets Kenny had brought along and pulled down the flaps on their caps. Tub tried to keep his hands warm by rubbing them under the blanket, but Frank made him stop. They left Spokane and drove deep into the country, running along black lines of fences. The snow let up, but still there was no edge to the land where it met the sky. Nothing moved in the chalky fields. The cold bleached their faces and made the stubble stand out on their cheeks and along their upper lips. They stopped twice for coffee before they got to the woods where Kenny wanted to hunt. Tub was for trying someplace different. 2 years in a row they'd been up and down this land and hadn't seen a thing. Frank didn't care one way or the other. He just wanted to get out of the goddamn truck. "Feel that," he said, slamming the door. He spread his feet and closed his eyes and leaned his head back and breathed deeply. "Tune in on that energy." "Another thing," Kenny said, "this is open land. Most of the land around here is posted." "I'm cold," Tub said. Frank breathed out. "Stop bitching, Tub. Get centered." "I wasn't bitching." "Centered," Kenny said. "Next thing you'll be wearing a nightgown, Frank, selling flowers out at the airport." "Kenny," Frank said, "you talk too much." "Okay," Kenny said. "I won't say a word. Like I won't say anything about a certain babysitter." "What babysitter?" Tub asked. "That's between us," Frank said, looking at Kenny. Kenny laughed. "You're asking for it," Frank said. "Asking for what?" "Hey," Tub said, "are we hunting or what?" They started off across the field. Tub had trouble getting through the fences. Frank and Kenny could have helped him. They could have lifted up the top wire and stepped on the bottom wire, but they didn't. They stood and watched him. There were a lot of fences, and Tub was puffing when they reached the woods. They hunted for over 2 hours and saw no deer, no tracks, no sign. Finally they stopped by the creek to eat. Kenny had several slices of pizza and a couple of candy bars. Frank had a sandwich, an apple, 2 carrots, and a square of chocolate. Tub ate 1 hard-boiled egg and a stick of celery. "You ask me how I want to die today," Kenny said. "I'll tell you, burn me at the stake." He turned to Tub. "You still on that diet?" He winked at Frank. "What do you think? You think I like hard-boiled eggs?" "All I can say is it's the first diet I ever heard of where you gained weight from it." "Who said I gained weight?" "Oh, pardon me, I take it back. You're just wasting away before my very eyes, isn't he, Frank?" Frank had his fingers fanned out on the stump where he'd laid his food. His knuckles were hairy. He wore a heavy wedding band, and on his right pinky another gold ring with a flat face and an F in what looked like diamonds. "Tub," he said, "you haven't seen your own balls in 10 years. Kenny doubled over, laughing. He took off his hat and slapped his leg with it. "What am I supposed to do?" Tub said. "It's my glands." They left the woods and hunted along the creek. Frank and Kenny worked one bank, and Tub worked the other, moving upstream. The snow was light, but the drifts were deep and hard to move through. Wherever Tub looked, the surface was smooth, undisturbed, and after a time he lost interest. He stopped looking for tracks and just tried to keep up with Frank and Kenny on the other side. A moment came when he realized he hadn't seen them in a long time. The breeze was moving from him to them. When it stilled, he could sometimes hear Kenny laughing, nothing more. He quickened his pace, breasting the drifts, fighting away the snow.